peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Good afternoon, members of the press, fellow Kenyans. On Sunday, the 15th of March 2020, the government received confirmation of 2 more cases of coronavirus in Kenya, which brought the number of those who were tested positive to 3. The first case of this deadly virus was reported in our country on March the 12th, 2020, which we promptly relayed information to the public through His Excellency President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Today, we have received confirmation of another case of coronavirus following tests carried out to a patient in one of our private facilities. This now brings the number of confirmed cases of coronavirus in the country to 4. The latest case was confirmed today at our National Influenza Center laboratory. The patient is reported to have traveled from London, United Kingdom, on the 8th of March 2020, arriving in the country on the 9th of March. Tracing of persons who may have come into contact with the patient is ongoing. You will also recall that when we got confirmation of the first case on March the 12th, a total of 27 persons who had come to contact with the patient were traced, quarantined, and tested. It is 2 of those who had tested positive. Results of the 25 plus and additional 23 other persons who have been tested have all turned negative. All the 23 from Bagathi Hospital, we have cleared them to self-quarantine at home. So far, our laboratories at Kemri and National Influenza Center have tested a total of 111 cases since this pandemic struck our country. For the 2 additional coronavirus cases, a total of 36 contacts have been traced to us by our surveillance team, and we are monitoring them. As you are aware, on the 15th of March, His Excellency the President had directed a number of measures, including travel ban from any country with any case of coronavirus was restricted. Only Kenyan citizens and any foreigners with valid residence permits will be allowed to come into the country, provided that they proceed on a self-quarantine or to a government-designated quarantine facility. May I also add at this point that when the Public Health Act has been invoked, quarantine is not a voluntary measure. It is a mandatory measure which can lead to a big fine and a jail sentence. This measure at the airport is going to be instituted further by making those traveling into the country to swear a legal document that they will comply with what they are supposed to do. As you are aware, all schools and higher learning institutions have been closed and continue and the work and the process of students going home is continuing. We would like to thank the schools, we would like to thank the parents for their understanding, because nobody has complained and everybody has been extremely understanding. We have also asked the transport system, the matatus who are transporting children, to transport them in clean, sanitized circumstances when they are taking them from their schools to their homes. And we have asked the schools not to put kids in their totality into public system, but to organize with public transporters how to take children from their school to their homes and in sanitized and clean conditions. We are also happy that the cashless transactions that we have advocated are going on smoothly. The central bank has stepped into this matter. We are appealing for even more improved offers from the cashless transactors. We have urged our people, and we will continue to urge Kenyans, please stay away where people are congregating. May they be weddings, may they be funerals, may they be religious congregations, may they be nightclubs, may they be churches. Please, please, we appeal to you. When we have looked at the countries that have managed to contain the coronavirus, they are those who the citizens have taken upon themselves to take responsibility. It is those places where social distancing has been brought to bear, and it is countries that have made decisions like the ones we have made very quickly. And for us to succeed, we will need the cooperation of just about every other institution that we have mentioned. We have asked that wherever possible, those people in offices, those people who are working, should actually try and work at home. We recognize that essential services must go on, and essentially work must go on. But we have given the measures that should be taken wherever this is necessary. The sanitary measures that we have given, the hygiene measures we have given, the distancing, the social distancing we have given, all these measures will go a long way into assisting us contain this virus. For clarification, there has been a number of things since the executive order was given and since the measures that we have taken were given. There's, as can be expected, various issues that have come up. And for clarification, let me just state the following. That in order for us to mitigate loss being suffered by our economy, there is coronavirus. After coronavirus, there will still be Kenya and there will still be the world. And in order for us not to suffer extreme economic losses, we have considered and found ways of ensuring that cargo vessels, cargo aircrafts or ships can come into the country provided they are disinfected at the point of departure and the crew quarantined on arrival. Following discussions we have had with the Chinese authorities, including the Chinese ambassador in Kenya, for instance, we have come to see how, as they restart their factories, we are also able to start moving goods and services. Goods, particularly goods, no people, just...
7 tips for protecting yourself against the coronavirus. 1. Wash your hands regularly with soap and water or with an alcohol-based gel. 2. Need to cough or sneeze? Do it into a tissue or a bent elbow and then wash your hands. 3. Stay at least a meter away from other people, especially if they are coughing, sneezing, or have a fever. 4. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. 5. Avoid direct contact with live animals. If this is impossible, make sure to clean your hands afterwards. 6. Do not eat raw or poorly cooked animal products, and wash your hands, clean surfaces and utensils afterwards. 7. If you develop a fever, cough, or difficulty in breathing, seek medical care.
Good afternoon, viewers. Thank you very much, wherever you are watching Diplomatic Leaks right from Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting from the command center of Punchline to the CBD station headquarters of Punchline Africa Television. Thank you very much, viewers, wherever you are in the world watching us on this good day of Thursday, 19th, the year of our Lord, 2020. With me in the studio across the bridge is none other than Miriam Ogutu. Miriam Ogutu, good afternoon.
A very good afternoon to you, Doctor, indeed, across the bridge. Yes.
Thank you very much, across the bridge.
But there's no sorrow over here.
Right.
Not yet. Yes.
Thank you very much. The man, again, in the World Health Organization is confusing Africa. The man, again, is telling us that we don't have the right figures. What's wrong with this Ethiopian guy? What has gone wrong with this guy? Is he mad? Kofi Annan destroyed Africa. Most of you who are young did not know what Kofi Annan did. When the two factions in Rwanda started fighting, Kofi Annan was the head of the United Nations peacekeeping force and the head of operations for the entire world. He failed to make logical assessment of the situation in Rwanda. You already now know where we went. We know where we went after that. You know what happened. We lost 2 million Tutsi, both under Hutu moderates, wiped out by a conflict. This guy here, the World Health Organization chairperson, is the same man who has confused us right from November. He has told us so many stories. One story, another story. Don't do this, don't do that. Now yesterday, as if he is not injuring us, we are in a state of fear and panic. Africa is in a state of fear and panic, and everybody in the world, even in London, as I speak, I have over 32 relatives, close family relatives, my grandchildren, my children themselves, their husbands, my wife, and the rest. Myself, over actually 40 relatives who are not far relatives, close related to me, by virtue of my strong tree. And this guy keeps on telling lies. People are panicking everywhere. He now has said, he said, Africa is in chaos. It doesn't have the right figures. Miriam, Diplomatic Leaks is this guy. I hope if Corona goes away, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you, Mr. Dr. Tigoros, something from Ethiopia. Resign before we take you down the route. You resign. You have not been consistent. You have put us in Kwagamaya state, confused the state. We don't know what we should do next. Any organization that has feelers in the world war like a UNICEF, FAO, World Health Organization, all these agencies, OCHA, Oxfam, you give the direction to where the countries should do. You stick to one position. I have a problem here, and I might not be the only African who has a problem. This man is not giving us direction. He's giving us more confusion, more fear, more frustration. He now says, Africa, there are no methods. They don't know how to find out which blood is wrong and right and what. So it means he knows something that we don't know. Did he play a part in the manufacturing of this? Did he manufacture this? Was he told in advance? What type of information did he know which he has hidden from the public? Such that the presidents on African continent take measures. Had we known all these things in November, straightforward that this thing is going to be big, we would have, even the Second World War, we knew it was going to finish the world. People started preparing for the Second World War. But in the modern 22nd century, we are not prepared, Miriam. Mm-hmm. There you are. And we still go on praising this Ethiopian coming on TV with his bad English, telling us lies, lie. We are in trouble. Some of us are not happy. Mm-hmm. I'm not happy talking on this TV now. When I have 40 people of mine under lock in the United Kingdom, I'm traumatized. I can't fly in. I can't fly in. I'm not restricted. But what is it? They can't fly out. And this guy goes on telling us lies. Lie number 1, lie number 2, lie number 3, lie number 4. I think by evening, he's going to come with another lie. This guy looks like Ocampo. In fact, they look the same, like Ocampo with the hair on the head. They look the same. Ocampo used to tell people lies. And I was telling people on a daily basis that Ocampo will bring you chaos. People did not agree with me. Isn't it time to agree with me now that Africa and the rest of the world needs to take this money on? When these things cool down, I am going to write to the United Nations and the member states, those who vote, who sit in Geneva. I write a petition against it. In fact, I've instructed my lawyer to start petitioning and writing the petition to deliver to this man, the Ethiopian in Geneva, so that he is responsible for the mess that is causing Africa. Having said that, I want to come back to Miriam and ask you we go through diplomatic leaks. Our topic this afternoon is very clear. Well, the world's reaction and support of COVID-19 to hit countries, to the countries that are hit. And we shall take case study Kenya and Zimbabwe. The World Bank Group has committed to giving Kenya up to 8 billion Kenya shillings to counter the disease, the desert locust and the coronavirus. Coronavirus. This is the money that Kenya dearly needs to steer out and to talk about the virus and to discuss quite a lot of, find ways of combating both locust and coronavirus. According to the World Bank in Kenya, the government will receive $60 million to the response to coronavirus and the desert locust. the COVID-19 financing facility will avail $50 million, $5.5 billion, and a contingency emergency response component of transforming health systems for the universal health care project will give additional of $10 million, which is $1.3 billion, which is very good, welcome news for the people of Kenya. The World Bank also announced that it has activated a disbursement of $14 million of $1.4 billion of that cash to enhance control of desert broadcasts invasion in Kenya. The funds are drawn from the contingency emergency response fund component of the Kenya Climate Smart Agriculture and the project. It is said in a tweet. We have followed this, and this is great news for the people of Kenya that you are not alone. The tweet read, the World Bank has committed 60, that is it, I've already done it. So Miriam, I come back to you in the studio. I have done my bit. I've brought out what is needed. Countries that are reacting. World Bank is reacting. Why is America silent? It is not reacting.
Yes.
Given all this, what do you think we can do?
Right, and yeah, I think a lot is happening right now, and I think US right now also have their own cases to deal with, but we've not seen the US come out and offer the help in the manner in which it would be expected, being that it is a superpower. A very interesting opening statements there you're making, Doctor, on the World Health Organization head there, Mr. Tedros Adhanom, that is the Ethiopian, and he's the head of the World Health Organization, and the manner in which the World Health Organization has really handled this pandemic. Remember, this matter started, it was traced back to November last year when the first case was announced, and the manner in which the World Health Organization really handled this matter leaves a lot of question, even in its role in regards to this very important matter that is now affecting the whole world. First of all, they took so much time before they were able to give the world the right information and for the countries to know what precautions to take and for them to have the right information. And so we just see, even after it started in China, the World Health Organization did not take it very seriously, and they failed to give and to cause an alarm to the world so that the world could prepare and the countries would know what are the right measures to put in place, because that is the mandate of the World Health Organization when we have a problem of such a huge scale in regards to health that affects the whole world. And now, very interesting, earlier they even mentioned earlier in the morning, China right now, they're not recording new cases, so they've been able to deal and contain with this matter. But now the rest of us here in Africa are able to now we are left to grapple with this matter. And what is interesting, you referred to that press conference that came from the World Health Organization yesterday, where Mr. Tedros came out and said Africa should wake up because in other countries we have seen how the virus actually accelerates after a certain tipping point. So what they're really worried about is the health infrastructure here in Africa, and they're saying, should this virus come in and hit Africa so hard, because right now it is the continent that has least a number of people that have been affected, but they were saying should the numbers continue surging in Africa, then a lot worse should be expected. But what I'm wondering is, because now of this press conference and telling Africa to wake up, I think World Health Organization should have woken up earlier when this thing started, and now there seems to be very alarmist, and now they're sending the whole world into a panic. So they failed in their first role in giving out the information at the right time, so that countries would have taken proper precautions in regards to protecting their citizens against the COVID-19. And now you've asked why the United States are not coming in and helping as it should. I don't understand. Well, if you've been watching what Trump has been saying, then you'll see why the United States right now is not even concerned about any other country rather than itself. Trump is a nationalist. So right now with the cases they are keeping surging in the U.S., I don't think any other country is really a concern to them right now. Their interest is to make sure that the United United States is safe. But nevertheless, we've seen China come out and helping out, especially. I think we'll get to Zimbabwe and we'll see how, they've been helping Zimbabwe and they're coming in. And it will be understandable because remember, China and Zimbabwe have been having a very close relationship in terms of partnering with in very important projects. And we've seen after the leadership of Zimbabwe was shunned from going to the Western world, even to seek for treatment and the sanctions that came with that and all of that, even when the Vice President, General Chiwenga, was sick, where was he seeking for treatment? That was in China. So I think the help that China is seeking to give even to Zimbabwe, as we continue with the show, we shall see the kind of help China is giving to Zimbabwe. I think it is very much welcome, owing to the vulnerability of Zimbabwe as a country as it is right now. I think it should get all the help it can get in the world, and also I think kudos to the World Bank for this amount of money that it has availed to Kenya to help us fight the coronavirus, and also the desert locust, which right now nobody's really talking about, but is also still causing some havoc, not just in Kenya, but other countries across East Africa.
Thank you very much, Miriam. I am very impressed with the management, the way, I was looking for records as to whether British government has given some money, Commonwealth Fund, emergency component funds that are in the Commonwealth. And two, I am looking at the possibilities of the world waking up to give support to the international community, to the world that is not able, to the facilitations. The World Health Organization is not giving us these answers. It is giving us more headache, more stress. Africa is almost under key and lock. Several other places, a country like Uganda, what helps us now in Uganda is food, because our country has money as food. We don't lack food. But imagine countries, cities like Nairobi, if we do a lockdown, what will happen? That's why the government is putting all of these measures to make sure that there is something that is very, very well organized. There's something that is being done to facilitate this country, the country called Kenya, to move, to be able to look, to put both the human resource and the material resources that are coming in to do quite a lot of things. That is the way forward. The second thing is the type of encouragement the World Bank has put out this money, because Kenya is able to pay back. Kenya is not a state that will fail to honor its obligations. And therefore, this is what we have been looking for. We have been talking about it, but another story that makes us very annoyed, we as people of Punchline Africa Television, we continue to make inroads. We continue to teach people. We continue to give more information out to the people, to the public, to the army, wherever you are in Chismayo, wherever you are in Mogadishu, the UPDF, don't forget to wash your hands before you eat. Don't forget to do sanitization. We don't want where people are crowded. We also give hope to our soldiers who are guarding our borders worldwide. Wherever you are, whether you are in Nigeria, whether you are in Africa, where in Libya, these are some of the things that we should do as a people. And we want to see a spirit of togetherness, of giving out. But America is not showing us any spirit of giving us even a single dollar. And yet when you trace last night, I was tracing where this disease started from. Where did it come from? This disease seemed to have been originated from that place. So why did Trump tell Americans to leave? What is it that Trump knew that we didn't know? Have you asked yourself that? What is it that Trump knew that we Africans didn't know?
A very, very thought-provoking question there, Doctor. And of course, the U.S. hasn't come out really outright and said it's going to offer help, especially for the developing countries and the countries that now are in the need of this help. But we've seen, as I mentioned there earlier, the Chinese government has come out, and pledged to upgrade Zimbabwe's main isolation center for suspected coronavirus patients in the capital, Harare. And also the Zimbabwean government announced it was stepping up its preparedness after neighboring South Africa confirmed since the first time South Africa confirmed its first case. And of course, Chinese ambassador to Zimbabwe, Guo Xiaochun, said China will support Zimbabwe and other African countries to deal with coronavirus, which has now been reported in a couple of other African countries. And of course, World Bank came in very late to declare this matter a pandemic, and so we have to grapple with this right now. So we've seen Dr. China here being a very vital partner to Zimbabwe in very difficult times. We've seen China has been there for Zimbabwe before, but most importantly right now, it understands, the shortcomings and the problems that Zimbabwe is going through and of course the sanctions that have really hurt that country. And, China is proving to be a friend in need, who is indeed a friend indeed. I don't know what you make of this relationship between China and Zimbabwe.
The relationship that has struck me most, not China and Zimbabwe, because we expected the Chinese to arrive in Zimbabwe and say, don't worry, we finished our problem at home. They will not let China go, Zimbabwe go, because they have been there even when Mugabe was in power. But the relationship that has come up, the new relationship, the new lobby tactics that some of us are using silently, the silent lobby strategy that I have used on Zimbabwe seem to be bearing some fruits. The British government gave Zimbabwe £1.7 million for this emergency of COVID-19, which is very good, and it has never happened before. The British government openly to come and say, this is the money we want you to make sure that people don't die of food and other sanitational equipment that is needed, the water, make sure that water is running in Harare, make sure that £1.7 million, which is very, very good money that is going to support the people of Zimbabwe. And that is something that we need to, that we actually seriously need to see. We need to value from a point of view that all these people were enemies, very strong enemies. Some of them did not like to be part and the parcel of Zimbabwe's difficulties. They would have lived. That's the type of spirit I'm looking for in Africa, in the world. We have seen Chinese leaving China with 80 doctors going into Italy. People seem to have forgotten Italy to die on its own. The people in Italy are dying on a daily basis. Nobody is making it worth it. So if you look at all those things, you put 1 plus 1 comes to an equation. I am satisfied that China, that foreign countries are doing a great job in these nations when they are giving that kind of money. Miriam,
yes.
Another thing that makes us very, very skeptical is the question of none coming out exactly. Even China itself is not coming out to tell us the real origin. They seem to be keeping this thing quiet. Mm-hmm. They have been having a war with America over telecommunication system, where America has been blocking their communication never to be, used in any way. In Britain, Britain took part of the communication. Some countries were told they should not have that telephone, system. No, there is still something that is where the world wants to know what should be done. The world wants to know what happened, how that can we come out with a quick solution. And that quick solution seems not to be coming immediately. And this is why I am very interested in finding out why there is a problem. And I use those 2 case studies in Africa to find out why the problem persists, despite the fact that we have already, put up a note, and there is danger on our doorsteps. There is danger on our doorsteps. It's not a lie. It's a very big danger. It's a very big danger.
Yes,
and this danger, therefore, brings us to a very serious situation where I think we must be able that if you are going to have this money coming into our countries, how are we going to pay our debts? There is a question that is lingering. There is a question that is lingering, and elsewhere in the world, the MacArthur Foundation. We have not talked about the MacArthur Foundation that it brought, but let me ask you this question before you go elsewhere. You have seen elsewhere because you have notes. You can see what contribution is being done to Africa. My question is to Miriam, what do you think? After all this, we saw the governor of the Central Bank of Kenya yesterday saying, give us 1 year to go to your bank and negotiate 1 year. Is China also going to reschedule the collection of their debt from African countries?
I'm not sure, but I think that China and the policy and how it has been engaging with Africa, it has been an open door policy, and it is on the basis of there's a problem you're coming in to fix, but also we have something else we're going to benefit out of it. And that has made a lot of infrastructure development here in Africa through the partnership that the African countries have been having with China. So perhaps that is something that the different countries in Africa that China, huge debts in terms of the investment it has made in this country, perhaps might have to go and renegotiate with the government of China. And I'm sure that is something that China would be willing to listen to, being that this problem originated from that area, and they've seen the first-hand the severe effects that they have experienced. So this is something that they have experienced as well, and they understand the vulnerability, especially when it comes to Africa, the financial disadvantages that perhaps will have to hit Africa even after this. Yesterday, when we were listening to those financial leaders who went to visit the president at State House in the morning, and they said after a while, Kenyans, and even right now as we speak, Kenyans have started feeling some financial and economic impact, and this will go worldwide and will impact on the whole economy. And that will go further. It will not just impact the economy of Kenya, but also it will impact the economy of other countries across Africa. So I think they'll have to find time, go after all this is said and done, go renegotiate on how they shall be, servicing some of these loans. And I'm sure China will be open to listen. It is the reason why a lot of African countries find it appropriate or easy to approach China when they seeking for certain helps or loans or grants or whatever it is that China is always willing to give, because this is how they listen to Africa, this is how they understand, this is how they seems to be very receptive, as opposed to the Western world where, getting anything from that part of the world comes with a lot of requirements and formalities that sometimes is very cumbersome to the leadership of Africa. And so I'm sure China will be in a position to listen and understand, and perhaps they can reorganize the manner in which some of these loans can be surfaced, because I know Kenya might be one of those countries who might want to go and say, you know what, yes, but we need to relook at this thing we are going to pay, but because of what happened, we require another new arrangement so that we are able, the economy is not able to suffer, and also we're able to meet our part of the bargain and continue paying this loan, but we have to change the manner or even the dates or how we're going to go about it because of what has happened.
Thank you very much. Miriam, let's move elsewhere in the world. Those are our two case studies that we have actually looked at how China, Britain, and the World Bank have helped Kenya, and how China and the United Kingdom and the donations. Let's look at individuals. I haven't seen the richest man in the world talk about how much Microsoft.
Microsoft. I'm sure he must have done enough by now. I could not find the statistics, but I'm sure Mr. Bill Gates perhaps has already done enough. But the person that we know that has made a contribution and is public is Jack Ma, the richest man from China, and the medical supplies donated by Jack Ma Foundation and Alibaba Foundation will be delivered to Addis Ababa, the capital of Ethiopia, where Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has agreed to take the lead in overseeing their distribution to other African countries. So he pledged to deliver on Monday. He pledged to donate 100,000 medical masks. And Doctor, well, we're starting here, and you raised a point there by the chair of the World Health Organization, Mr. Tedros, saying that perhaps in Africa we cannot get the exact numbers because we don't have the testing kits and all of that. We are disadvantaged in that manner. So that is very worrying and alarming because now what are you saying, that more of us could be having this disease and we don't know? And Mr. Jack Ma went ahead and donated around 100,000 medical kits, medical masks, 20,000 testing kits, 1,000 protective suits to each of the 54 nations of the African continent. So all of these are going to each of the 54 countries in Africa. What a huge donation. I think this will go a long way in helping the African countries. So they will be delivered in Ethiopia. I think by now they could be because Ethiopia is, that is where the AU headquarters are, in Addis Ababa. And then from there, Ethiopian Prime Minister, Mr. Abiy Ahmed, will see that these kits and everything that has been donated will be distributed to other African countries as a per that donation.
Thank you very much, Miriam. As we stand right now, we have 207,660 confirmed cases in the world. over 86,000 dead. No, 8,648 dead. The number of countries affected, 166. And I remember the world has got 193 countries.
Mm-hmm.
So
out
you
of
can
the 193, 166 are affected.
66.
Okay.
So you can count yourself where we are.
Things are not looking up quite well. Yes.
And out of that, 80,000 cases are under bed being looked. You know? You see? Mm-hmm. So 33 countries affected also seriously, very deeply. Mm-hmm. 33 countries are in a high band. So you can see for yourself, mm-hmm. Put yourself in your category where we are. Kenya has got only 7 cases so far?
Yeah, confirmed.
But we are part of the countries that are affected because we have, mm-hmm. In Africa, in East Africa, we still have Uganda, which has not registered. And because the Ugandan authorities have taken very drastic measures, including blocking any traffic coming inside Uganda, whether by road, by sea, by air, they say enough is enough. Mm-hmm. So it takes, if that is the case, it takes a few days for you to stay wherever you want to stay. If it is staying for only 30 days when you are in Uganda, it is better let it be, because you don't want to have this type of problem because you want to manga to go somewhere else. So I on this one, I support President Museveni on locking up the whole place. And those who want to go to Kampala, you can see the figure has even risen now. latest is 218 confirmed, 218,000 confirmed. And change again our studio, wherever you are. Yeah, we can see, but I cannot read all of them.
Well, I can help you from this end. So the total deaths that have been recorded so far since in the morning today was about 8,810, with China still leading with 3,130 deaths there in Hubei. That is the province that hosts Wuhan, where this disease was first discovered. And also Italy comes in second with 2,978 deaths. And then Iran comes in third. I think that chart has left my screen, but yes, that is what is happening across the globe. So we see these massive numbers, and of course, so far, Africa has suffered the least of infections and deaths. So in the morning, as we were here, I don't know if we've had new cases of any deaths, but it was only 16 people have died from Africa, 6 from Egypt, 6 from Algeria, 1 from Sudan, and another one from Burkina Faso. So far we are a bit safe, but we've seen new cases coming in, and a lot of them coming from outside of Africa. And so countries just need to increase their surveillance and awareness so that these numbers can be kept as low as possible.
Thank you very much, Miriam. I want to take this opportunity. We have done our best. We have brought to the attention. I don't know whether you have forgotten Mr. here.
Yes. I just sanitized before I sat here.
Yes. You have to sanitize as you leave. And that sanitizer should always be on the table from the commanding center here. Here we are. We want to say we wash hands all the time.
Yes.
Contact pirate.
Yes.
Wash hands. And so no crime in Jesus.
Yes.
Don't see any crime committed. China has done its level best.
Yes.
China has, whichever method they have used, they have finished the disease. Whether they have buried it.
Yes. I hope they've not murdered people over there.
Well,
it's China. You can never rule out anything.
It's their population. But what remains very staggering on people's mind is why did the Americans evacuate Wuhan? All of them told their people to leave as early as November. Why? What did they know? Take care. Thank you very much. And it is a very serious interest. Continue debating on that. What did they know that we didn't know? Why is Trump calling it a Chinese disease?
A Chinese virus, yes.
Not a world pandemic.
Very racist, I might add.
Why? Why is it called Chinese disease? What did the Americans know that we didn't know? The Americans who were there, who were told to evacuate. On 2 occasions, we have evidence. So, our station wants to say bye-bye. We see you at 8 o'clock East African time. I will be there, right from the command center. I believe you not to be there.
I will be in isolation in my house. Thank you very much.
You will be in isolation.
In my house.
Be working from the command center.
Yes.
I and Stephen will work. That's a show later on. And I believe our production team and other people and our researchers who are watching, those all other departments that are working from different command locations. We want to thank you very much. We shall be trying to get through to London this afternoon, this evening, through the studio. I think I will be talking direct to the studio. I don't know. Stephen will tell me what we shall do. We want to thank all of you. We want to thank the governments. We want to thank the President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta for the role that he has played, steering this, situation until now. There is no serious commotion in Kenya about this disease. People are getting the message clearly, and let's hope everything will be all right. God bless Africa. God bless us. God bless you in the studio. Back to you, Miriam. Clear it off. I send you off.
All right, thank you so much.
But before you leave,
yes,
I would like to do the analysis. I want to remind my viewers that tonight at 8 p.m., there will be a program called what, Miriam?
The program we'll be having later on is a security program where Doctor will be looking at the security challenges or the security around the COVID-19 and how it has changed the security of the globe.
I don't know whether Stephen and bring it. Let's bring the picture now of that program before we leave. We have time, yes?
Yes, we do.
Can you bring it up on the board, please? The security program, don't miss it tonight. Tonight, it will be live from the command center of Punchline Africa Television, the only television that talks about Africa. What we shall be doing a security expert at 8 p.m. East Africa, wherever Africa where you are, we shall get one security analyst from London to tell us what this, as we are focusing on disease, there are also other doing other things. So security-wise, terrorists might be also planning something. We might focus on the disease. These are the things that we want to bring to our audience and to people in Africa. That is the program.
Yes, and the program is yes
on international security. Look at that topic. Nobody has it on the Kenyan TV. Can't you be proud? We have it. Nobody is thinking about that. But we are having. We're thinking about it. We talk about the security, international security. People are not traveling. Planes are not traveling. What do you think they are thinking about? Because always bad situations breed worse situations. Have you ever heard of that? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So there you are. Keep watching. We have some good 5 hours, isn't it? 5 to 6 hours. And I tell you, before you leave the studio, I'd like to have that paper on my desk, sir and madam, so that I can have the research. I'm on my own alone, because when you are there now, I'm alone. I've been left alone, and I will be doing it alone from this side. Thank you very much.
That is taken care of. Don't worry. We shall have it available for you in a few. Thank you to our viewers.
We thank you very much for being lovely to the Punchline community. Thank you. You don't miss us. Thanks. God bless.
7 tips for protecting yourself against the coronavirus. 1. Wash your hands regularly with soap and water or with an alcohol-based gel. 2. Need to cough or sneeze? Do it into a tissue or a bent elbow and then wash your hands. 3. Stay at least a meter away from other people, especially if they are coughing, sneezing, or have a fever. 4. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. 5. Avoid direct contact with live animals. If this is impossible, make sure to clean your hands afterwards. 6. Do not eat raw or poorly cooked animal products and wash your hands, clean surfaces, and utensils afterwards. 7. If you develop a fever, cough, or difficulty in breathing, seek medical care.